All right guys, a little bit of a different video for this one, but I've been needing a proper drill press for a long time now. So I finally got this one. I just bought it at auction for $100. It's slightly used. It's a Buffalo No.18, which I think is a pretty common, it's pretty old, maybe from the 50s or 60s or something like that. By the way, I should just mention that I have never been more nervous transporting something heavy than this thing across town, because it's really top heavy and it's way heavier than it looks. I think it's like 400 or 500 pounds. Anyways, let's try to get it unloaded without destroying my truck. You know, it's occurring to me now how the roof of this skid steer got smashed. It's doing something like this. Goal is to not drop this. This is a Buffalo No.18. So just a quick search and looking at pictures on the internet, I think it's from the 1950s, and we're probably going to have to take it apart. I mean, just depends on how sloppy it is. It's pretty grimy, but it doesn't look like rusty. Well, I guess this part's rusty, but this cage up here is someone added that, I guess maybe so they didn't get their fingers. And this all looks fine. What are we at? Just 120 volt, looks like it. Nice. It's the same kind of styling as the Chrysler building on this. Cutler hammer. And then there's no we're hitting the table there. Ooh, we got a lot of travel. My other drill press, I'll show it, but I just hate everything about it. I mean, it's tiny, there's no travel. Look at that grease, that's fresh grease on there. Whew. Does this work? Oh man, this thing is... Okay, I'm getting a little bit excited now because everything's working. So let's get it off this thing and in the shop. Actually, first off, let's see if it works. Got it plugged in. Let's give this a shot here. That was loud. What is the motor loud, or is the... It spins, but it doesn't sound good. Is that... What's going on with the pulleys on here? That bottom one. And then how do you... I saw a couple pictures of this thing, and I think this comes out like there's some kind of... I know right now there's just people screaming at their TV or whatever at me because they know exactly what's going on here. Don't worry, we'll figure it out in this video. I'm gonna figure it out, but I just, you know, this is the first day with it here. By the way, I should probably show, this is what I'm coming from, all right? This is what I've been using for years. I bought this thing up forever ago. I think I probably paid, you know, $30 for it, whatever Harbor Freight charged at the time. This thing is so underpowered though. There's a ton of slop in this chuck. And then it's so weak. Watch this. People are always yelling at me about like being unsafe on it. Like, you need to clamp your pieces down because they're gonna swing around and hit you in the face or whatever. Watch this. That's why I never clamp anything down, because there's no power in this thing, all right? By the way, sorry for the mess here. Man, I can't tell you how excited I am for this thing though. I've been wanting a drill press for so long. You get one for $100. I mean, that's not terrible, but it's still not something I can move easily by myself. Oh boy. We should do 2 of these. This seems really safe. cage is gonna be too tall for it to even fit in the shop. So there's bolts that are like in there. You gotta reach in. Looking at the pictures of this thing, I figured it was welded on, but this is really nice. It's just bolted on. There we go. Jeez. All right. I don't think I'm gonna reuse that. I don't need it. This thing is still too tall for my, oh, there we go. Got it. So I did a couple minutes of research last night, and this is supposedly a Morse 3 taper. So that's what the system is to retain this stuff. So I actually went and bought the tool for it to pop this out, and I think it was like $6. I also had to get a bigger key to loosen this chuck. This is a pretty big chuck. But before we do that, I mean, just doing a little bit of reading, I think maybe we should measure the run out first on this to see just where we're at for the starting point. So I think ideally you'd want to do this at the bottom of the drill bit, or you'd have like just like a smooth bit or something that you could measure this on, but we're just -1 +1. So that might just be the drill bits bad. I don't really have any other tools to put something else in there. So I'll try this key out. All right, got the right size. This is what the tool looks like to remove it. So from what I've seen, you just put it in there and then give it a tap. Oh. That worked. The other side. See if I tap on this, does it? Oh, yeah, it's moving. Hasn't been adjusted for a while, clearly. But there we go. Okay. Is it easier to hit this out or take the motor off? I'm guessing it's going to take the motor off the plate, because otherwise I'm going to have to hammer this out and catch it. Yep, 9/16. Is that a crack? No, it's just dirt. Okay, good. I wonder how heavy this is. Not too bad. It looks heavier than it is. Come on. There we go. Yep, that's heavy. Ah. Just the slightest amount of run out in this pulley. Plus that sound is horrible. So this may take a little bit of service to get that back up and running. So this is the motor mounting plate. I'm not sure what was on here originally, but I mean, obviously these were drilled and tapped in for that motor because it's even off-centered. Is that a crack? It's kind of weird, a little bit of... I always hate hitting this old cast stuff. It's going to crack or something. There we go. All right, that's a good piece. Okay, well this head is probably got to come off next, but it looks like it's pretty heavy. Is this solid? Okay, good, it's not solid. We should probably try to lighten it up as much as we can. So maybe we can take this thing out. How do you do that? So there's clearly a spring in here, right? Since it's returning. This is just like a thin stamped steel shell, so I'm guessing the spring's in here. There's a Allen bolt here. Is that Allen? We'll assume that's an Allen bolt. And then there's also a roll pin right here. Which, does this come out the other side? Nothing on this side. How does that work? Is that a little Allen bolt? I can't tell if that's Allen or if that's a... Allen, are you in there? Okay, maybe that's not a roll pin. Okay. Yep, 9/64. Oh, it's not even tight. So it's, whoa, yeah, okay, that adjusts. That's for the spring tension, clearly. If I hold this, no, it doesn't like that. Okay. And I'll just, oh, okay. Is that it? So when I pull on this, it's, something's stopping. Maybe I should take this Allen bolt all the way out. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Some pretty ancient oil on there. Is this gonna come out? I think so. Is this the spring here? Can I get this out without wrecking anything? Is it coming? Yeah? Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Nice. I guess gears all look okay on there. These off. This is a solid piece. No wonder this thing weighs so much. Let's see what we got on this pulley for slop here. Looks pretty good. Way better than the motor, that's for sure. I see a little bit of movement on here, but it's like the pulley itself was bent, not the This does not look original, this thing. Is this gonna fall out? Oh yeah, nice. It's just, okay, to lower this table. So we gotta loosen these. Nice. This whole thing works, man. This is great. Just needs a little bit of TLC and we're gonna be back up. Huh? There we go. The grease inside of there is really nasty, but I mean, this thing spins nice. Let's see what we got in here. Screws aren't really doing anything as I unscrew them. Nope, there's one down here, no wonder. Those just must be for the button. This looks like a new switch. Yeah, Omron, the Japanese part number. So that's pretty cool. Someone like, they retrofitted the switch on here. I don't know if these buttons are original or whatever, but it's pretty cool. We'll hold on to that. So I wonder if this is just primer and this is the original paint, or is this red I mean, this has got to be primer. This red color. All right, up here we got these 3 flat screws. I got to hold the camera up because this is way too far off the ground. What are the chances these are going to move? Oh, whoa. Not frozen. I figured this thing had been sitting outside for a while getting water in these, but I guess not. Let's see here. easy. Some old, kind of old grease in there. No rust though, this is great. Okay, so there's like a bearing here, and then there's a bearing here, which holds this shaft in. I'm not sure how to get those out. And you got these two bolts and this grub screw here. And then this is some kind of, I don't know what this is in between this plate. Some kind of, it's not hard. Some kind of gasket material or, oh, I just broke a piece off there. Not tight. Well, that's not locked up. I think I lucked out on this thing. There's no real rust on it. It's been stored inside clearly for its life. I just noticed in here there's two flathead screws. Nice. Flathead screws are always a little bit worrisome. That one's loose. Okay, nice. Okay. Trying to go easy on it. There we go. Ooh, these are fine thread bolts. Is this going to pop off? I see a lot of, maybe we should kind of clean this up and put a little oil up here. Just clean this up here a little bit. So this is like a cast clamp, which is going to really want to crack if you're not doing this right, probably. So we're going to be very gentle. Not moving. This thing's so heavy though. Put a little bit of, okay, I see it moving. Can we hit it down? Just a tiny bit is all we need. Like that, right? Ooh, I think I saw it move. Yeah, I think it's, oh yeah, it's definitely moving. Okay. Can I hit right here? Yeah, I can hit here. Still moving? No, you can tell it doesn't move at all without that wedge. Actually, it's loose now. It's kind of, there's actually right here and right here is where it's machined and it's actually gripping onto the pole. So this part's already cleared. So I'm gonna go ahead and, I think we just need a wedge here. We should be good. Can't tell if it's coming back up or not. It just might be coming back up now. Oh. I think I'm gonna lay this thing down and try to get it off. All right. Pull off this first. Nope, that actually came off. Amazing. Let's see here. Not that bad, actually. We can handle this. Yep, yeah, we're good. Kind of heavy. Oh yeah, it's heavy. Yep, oh, there we go. All right. Oh, way easier. All Let me, there we go. Right there. Well, this table raise thing is pretty cool. So you have these two knobs which, you know, loosen and tighten it. So when those are loose, you can, you know, rotate this, and then this is sliding in this collar. But then you can turn this to raise and lower it. I was looking at a few pictures of these things, and a lot of these don't have this thing. So I think it was an option, or maybe it's a earlier or later one, I don't know. But it works. And then you can also, there's this down here. Is this one tight? Oh, this one's really tight down here. And that rotates this, and this probably just pulls right out, right? Little grub screw on here. Let's see if this comes loose at all. Not really. We got these two gears in here. So I think this whole thing needs to go up, but this gear is obviously causing trouble. The roll pin right there. Sounds good. Okay, good. Yeah, this thing is really mushroomed for how easy that came out. Oh. Well, the bearing on here is shot, that's for sure. It looks like it's never been greased, which is okay. I mean, it still worked. Okay, we'll come back to that. For now, there's two grub screws down here too. So let's get these out. Maybe that'll help. I did find a manual for this thing, by the way, from the 50s, that era. And there was actually quite a bit of like directions on how to fix stuff, or, you know, how to oil it and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. I'll put it up in the video description if you're interested in reading it. I'll throw a link up to it. Get it to turn. I think it's turning. Maybe we need to, kind of what we did before, maybe we need to clean this off and oil it up. I was considering painting this thing blue, thinking that's what I'm leaning toward. Everyone always paints their shop tools green or gray for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's moving. Yeah, it's moving. Yeah, that one's moving too. It's just really stiff on there. I mean, it is turning easier now the more I do this. Let's maybe get this whole thing oiled up. It's gonna have to come off of here. So this right here is that worm gear shaft or whatever. It was sticking up a little bit more, but if I hit on it, this is why I removed that gear. Yep, it's coming out. Okay, good. So I think the smart thing to do here is spend some time on this pole. It's really rusty, and this is a pretty tight fit. I think when it comes up, it's gonna be getting all, you know, it's gonna be picking stuff up, and then it's gonna get all hung up and snaggled in there. So let's clean this off as best we can. We're gonna have to do the same. Actually, that lower one, I think we can hit it down. That should make things easier. We'll try that. like an ultra fine Scotch pad. See all the little dings in there? By the way, check out how thick this wall is on this pipe. 0.31 inches. Maybe I can now kind of it's starting to go a lot easier now. I think I got it past like the, oh yeah, look at that. Yep. I think I just knocked it by this nasty spot. There's actually a fair amount of clearance on there. Yeah, it looks like there's actually gray paint in here. It must have gone down when they painted it. So maybe the gray is the new color or something, but another shot bearing on here. Looks like the same one as the other one. I'm just off camera here. I'm just going to clean the pole from here up to here, get all this old paint or whatever this is out of here, and then we can get the rest of this out. This should be pretty easy now. All right, well, you can see pretty nasty there. Yeah, this is pretty loose. Okay. Oh yeah, piece of cake. Yep. Okay. Is it? Oh yeah. In fact, yeah, let's just leave it there. Okay, now we just need to clean this up and, oh boy, that's rusty. It's gonna come, oh, that just came out. Well, that makes things easy. Well, it's going to be a lot easier to put this thing back together. Maybe. There we go. We've got another one of these bearings here, which is also shot. So I think that's just 3 of these. Let me see if I can pull a number off here real quick. All right, I don't know if you can see this, but it says Nice Ball Bearing Company, made in USA, Philadelphia, number 5449. So it looks like there's a sleeve on the end of the shaft here, and there's a hole here, and if you rotate this, there's a Allen nut in the sleeve that you can get through this hole. I'm just kind of playing around with this, so there it is. There we go. Stuff's all in good condition. Okay. See an ND, that's pretty sure that's new departure. 5205. This bearing is actually what has the grub screw hole in it. So I don't know if this is something we're gonna be able to find. Just try a junk socket here. Again, I apologize. This is pretty janky, but we're in a hurry. That's working too. Oh, there it is. Okay. New departure. This, all the bearings in here are new departure. 88505. Yep, there we go. So according to the owner's manual, you don't ever have to re-grease these bearings. They're supposed to be just, you know, good for the life. And then the new ones, I believe, come pre-packed with grease, but we'll double check that before we put them in. All right, well, those were really easy to find. They're like 10 bucks each off eBay, so no problem there. Now I gotta figure out how to pull this bearing. I think there's two in here. There's a bearing down here, and then this one. And then there's one in here. In here. Now the run out was pretty good on here. Why am I replacing them? Because who knows how old they are, if they're bad. These are probably okay because they still have grease on them. But this one, that doesn't sound good. No bueno. So we'll replace these the very minimum, but why not replace everything? We're at this point, right? Now the owner's manual that I found, it actually had directions for removing this. And it said grab the pulley in two spots, at least two spots, and then pull it up and it should come out. There's no rust or junk on this inside surface, so like it's not gonna be rusted into place. I mean, this is all cast, it makes me really nervous. It should make you nervous too if you're watching this. So we're gonna just gently This is gonna be difficult. Oh, that's working. Yeah. Let's breach the surface. The pulley, the top of the pulley now is hitting up here. So I think what's going on here, you got the bearing, you have the pulley, and then there's this shaft in the middle. So what I'm going to do is try to hammer out the shaft through the bottom. So let's find a appropriate socket. It's not taking much. I mean, they obviously machined this thing properly where it's not like a super tight interference fit on this stuff. So it shouldn't, based on what's been going on, it shouldn't take a ton of force to do this. Okay. Might have to rig up the press if this doesn't work. Okay, well, I think the instruction manual I have is this is a slightly different design, because basically I just checked again, and it says you need to pull up, you pull up on this pulley until this bearing clears the housing, but we're not even halfway there. I mean, when the top of this pulley is touching the housing, the bearing's not even halfway there. So there's a key in the shaft on this side, but not the other side. So I think that means the shaft has to go out that way. So I have a socket here to hold it. Let's try just giving it a little tap out and see if it moves. No good for the bearings, but the whole point is to replace them anyway. Go nice and slow here. Can't see if it's moving or not. I mean, we might need to set up the press. This isn't the most ideal hammering setup. So there's like a rod in there. So that's going down to the center of the shaft. And then we got that socket down there to capture it. So all the force should be on that shaft and the bearing. So I think this should work without breaking anything. Let's give it a shot. Nothing's moving. This is making me nervous. Oh, it's moving. Okay. Oh, this is probably the. I just put a thin plate of steel down there. That's probably. It's gonna get all loaded up wrong. Okay, safety goggles on. I'm gonna move. Let's move this kind of. Gonna move this cart in between me and the thing. We got the longer handle on here. Oh man. I think we're just at the limit of the jack. Oh, something. I don't know what that was. Doesn't look like it's straight on there anymore. Oh, that was exciting. Now, I can see the jack is it moving though? So what happened there is the weight, I was using a cast iron weight on the bottom and that cracked in half. That's why it flew out. Something appears to be bent on my, I think it was already bent, but maybe we should try to straighten that out a little bit. All right, I got it set up on the big vise here, which still only has a 12-ton cylinder on it, but this thing is a lot straighter and stronger. The other advantage is it's right at face level, so when it blows out, it's gonna hit me right here. So I'm gonna be standing right behind this huge post, and we'll give this a shot. It's looking straight at least. And that's got to be at least 12 tons. This is still spinning on here. Okay, we got the 20-ton on. I'm sure this will work great. Can't tell if anything's happening here. Nice and easy on the gas. Oh yeah, it burned through that immediately. I didn't even have to add oxygen. It just burned through that right away. Now the felt underneath is burning. Doesn't smell the best. Yeah, it just, yeah. You just don't want the fire to get out of control. The grease in there looks really old. The smell of this 80-year-old grease and felt burning really fills the shop up. Pretty old grease in there. Let's just kind of burn off that grease. Sure, this is in no way carcinogenic. Let's go for this one. And once again, it just burns through without even adding oxygen. There we go, that's all we need, just that. That's good. That's a little too much. Okay, well, it's not burning through. There's absolutely nothing on the pulley yet. So I'm just going to start going through slowly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut like a chunk here, and then I'll cut a chunk over here, and then a chunk here. Just kind of keep the heat, not too hot in one spot. But I'm basically, now I'm pretty confident I'm not going to hurt anything. I'm just going to cut this thing out. So Okay, well I take all that back because it was way easier just to burn through the ball bearings themselves. This thing's gonna be totally seized up probably. Oh, nope. Just break through the slag. Oh, you did it. Let's see if we can knock this loose here. This should be close to cracking here. All right, inner race off. Let's see what the damage is from cutting that bearing off with the torch. I don't think that's a gouge though, because it's clean all the way around it. Wonder if that was already in there. Maybe that could be a flame gouge, I don't know. That's it, not too bad. Guess I lucked out. So it's probably extremely hard to see, but right above the pulley here, there's a spacer. And it ends right there. Try not to ding this thing up too much, but it's not looking. Okay, I got that ring off, and I'm really glad I did because it's kind of showed me how this thing's put together. You can see there's a keyway cut into the shaft there, the bottom of the shaft, but obviously there's not one in the bearing. So now on the top, there's a keyway cut into the pulley, but not the shaft. So that right there is going to tell you that the key's retained in the shaft, and there's no way that you're going to be able to push the shaft down, right? Because the key is stuck against the top part of the shaft, and then if it goes down, it's hitting the bottom of the bearing. The only way to get this thing apart, it seems, would be the shaft has to come straight up. So all that being said, I think what the actual root problem is here is that this pulley is aluminum, and this obviously is steel, the center shaft. And in case you don't know this, if you have aluminum and steel in direct contact for a long period of time, in this case 80 years or whatever, they can kind of weld together through some kind of fancy chemical process or whatever. So we're gonna have to get this unstuck. This pulley, I can replace this pulley. I found one on eBay. I don't want to pay that, so let's try to do this. I think we're just gonna use heat and then quench it with penetrating oil, heat, quench it over and over, and hopefully it'll come off. Well, it finally happened. I broke something here. So fortunately, it's just the pulley. There are replacements available, I've found, so I'm not super worried about that. The shaft is what I'm worried about protecting, and obviously this casting. So at least now that this is out of the way, I can get in here and just cut this off, and then I should be able to just pull the whole bearing out. There we go. And the bearing is out. That only took forever. Did I cut enough off to get... Nope. Okay, I've got the shaft cleaned up here and free of everything. So it's kind of a weird design here. The this side and this side, the diameter is smaller, and then it kind of necks up for the center part, which is where the pulley is supposed to go. As far as why the pulley was stuck, I mean, it doesn't look like it corroded to it, but what I do see when I look close, let me see here, I see a lot of this stuff. So it's like something got in there And I don't know exactly how they managed to do that because it is keyed, but it looks like it spun a little bit. And there was, oh yeah, this over here. This was not me cutting it off. I'm not 100% sure on why this was so hard. Maybe it was just, I mean, that was a press fit for the pulley pretty much, and then it was a press fit for the bearing. But the bearing popped right off once I got it out of here. And the pulley I had to put in the press to get that off. I managed to save this thing, which was kind of not something you can easily replace. And the pulley was the one item that I found that I could replace. So we're all good to go. This shaft's good. I'll probably just clean it up a little bit more. But yeah, we're ready to clean parts and paint it and put it back together. Oh, I guess we should also talk about the motor. It's the oil hole. Hasn't been lifted up in a while. Ooh, these are nice and loose. So this definitely is not the original motor. It doesn't fit in the motor mounting plate, like they had drilled holes for it, so no pressure here as far as, oh my goodness. Ooh, I just cracked it right there. That was, didn't hit it that hard. I don't think, I mean this should it be that loose? Maybe it should. But this thing, oh my gosh. This thing kind of rattles around in here too. There it is. Yep. This is only a 4-step pulley, which the pulley on the press is 5-step. So this definitely, I mean, it would be nice to find something and put a 5-step pulley on it and have it all set up properly. The wiring is a little bit crispy in here. It really does look like the shaft's bent though. So I mean, if the shaft's bent, there's really no purpose in continuing, in my opinion. That bearing's definitely cooked. Yeah, I mean that. So I'm mid-cleaning right now. This is just an example of a piece. So what I've done is I've gone through the machine surface and wire wheeled it just to clean it up. I'm about to tape it before paint. And I've gotten all the paint stripped off, and this is something I learned when I was doing the Caterpillar. If you get this stuff, let me find it here. This stuff from Home Depot. It used to be another brand, but this one is basically the same, it seems like. It's the purple stuff. So if you throw your parts in here for a day, it'll dissolve the paint and primer off. And that's how I'm able to get this thing so clean. So I basically soaked this for a day. All the paint came off, and then I just pressure washed it. And it's super clean, ready for paint. I'll probably wipe it down before I paint it, but I mean, all the paint and primer are completely gone. It's very nice to work with. All the grease is obviously gone. Not a lot of effort or manpower to do this. And basically what I'm doing here is I just come in every day, I swap parts in the bucket or I flip them around. I mean, the bucket's all jacked up right now because it's that thing shoved in there. But yeah, you just let it sit in there for a day and it strips everything off. I just now started pressure washing, so there's a lot of stuff out here, which I got to get to quick before it starts flash rusting. But you get the idea, right? It's pretty simple. Someone's clearly been over this thing with an angle grinder. You can see all those swirl patterns. Definitely not the first person to paint this, but got most of the paint off. This was only soaking for about 8 hours. That's why not every piece of paint came off, but that's good enough. Still need to clean it up. Then over here on the drill table, only a few oopsies. Just here, there's a big one there, but I'm not really gonna, I don't think I'm gonna fix those. There's no real point. And this is like cast. I don't wanna try experiment welding on it. But the rest of this is pretty flat, not super pitted or anything. It should clean up pretty nice. This stuff is dirty. Charlie, no. It's covering more than half, so I'll just flip it over after a day. Once it's degreased, the paint doesn't cling back to it, so you can leave it out as long as you want, and it'll still come right off. So I've been over this pretty good with a wire wheel, and I've gotten all the big stuff off, and it's actually in pretty good condition. There's only 2 spots. There's this spot right here, which I forget was right here, maybe the top of the head or something. Like you can see that little punch mark where something was dug in. So right here, this is just a stain. And then down here, there's another little rusty area. All this dark area is just kind of pitting. But besides that, this thing is in actually really good condition. Yeah, so I got some polishing pads. I don't know how these are gonna work because they're not really flexible and I'm on a curved surface. But I just, it'd be nice to shine it up. Oh yeah. I've done about what? 15% of it. So this actually is going pretty quick. Okay, I really don't know what to say here. Maybe I should just apologize, but this blue color, it's really blue. I don't really know how else to put it. Especially out in the sun, which probably won't be a problem in the shop, but it's really blue. Too late now to change it. So if this is gonna really bother you, it's bothering me. Sorry. Just set this pole up and then do the final cleanup there. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil. And once again, I apologize for this color. There we go. I think that's about where it was before, just a little bit of overlap. And I got the original fasteners. Do these have washers? I think they should have washers. Well, it's the next day. Kind of got distracted with something else. Now, as far as how much you're supposed to torque something like this, I'm guessing not a whole lot. This is cast. It's probably going to want to crack if you do it over tighten it. Why do they gotta make this so heavy? Actually. Yo, that's heavy.
What's up to that?
We got some 600 here to finish it off. I think this is about as good as you can get it, unless you, you can go and weld it back up and then turn it back down if you really wanted to, but it's not really worth it. All the same stuff's gonna go right back in that spot, so it shouldn't, you're not even gonna see the pitted parts. You can see pretty smooth on the top. There's a lot of areas where there's like just stuff hitting it. Maybe that's just from, that's right where the drill I think is, so maybe it's spinning around, like pieces were spinning around and hitting it or something. It's all through there. All right, I got a new motor in. Let's take a look at this thing. So this was a scratch and dent special on eBay. What's we got in here? Oh, came with a key. That's nice. Got it for, I think it was like $120, but this is, if you look up what this is like a $450 motor. Runs off of 115 or 220, and it is a 1 horsepower motor, 9.9 amps at 115 volts. Now, I was always under the impression that when you're calculating horsepower on a motor, you multiply the volts times the amps times the efficiency, which since this is a, does it say on here? Since this is a one-phase, the efficiency should be around 60 to 70%. Like on a 3-phase motor, it's about 80 or 90%. So I was looking on the Harbor Freight website, and on their big drill press, they have they call it a 1 horsepower, but if you look at the current it draws, it's like 6 or 7 amps. It's a lot less. I don't think they include the efficiency on it. That must just be a kind of a specsmanship thing. Anyway, you can see there's some scuffs on here, but you know, a $450 motor, I'll take it. Oh, it's been so much nicer than the other motor. So this is a 5/8 shaft. I got a pulley. This is a 5-step pulley. Looks like it's aluminum. Let's see here. This was actually quite cheap, so hopefully it holds up. This is way looser than it should be. Kind of hoping for a press fit. Put the key in. Does that bind it up? Nope. Okay. We're gonna have to. I don't know what we're gonna do on this. I'm gonna have to set the height so it lines up with the other pulley. You know what I mean? And I already know this isn't gonna mount up on here, but let's just see how close we are, I guess. I think all electrical motors kind of have standard mounts. You can look up online and see what all the different mounts are, what they're called, and what the dimensions are. The original mount style on here is like kind of obsolete. Maybe it's used on like bigger 3-phase motors or something, but this is a much smaller mount. So yeah, we're not even close. Charlie. Get back to work. All right, this thing just came out of the degreaser bath. It's a nice bare casting. A lot of rust up in here, and then it looks on the other side. It looks like someone tried to weld it at some point. This must be a repair. I didn't notice it till now. Like, it's really globbed on right here. And then here, right here, it's it just doesn't look like it's a great weld. But I mean, it is holding the other side, not cracked through on that side, so I think it's okay. Not really sure what that's about. We're ready to put this part on. Might be an alignment issue. There we go. Oh, if we get by this rusty spot. There we go. There we go. All right, so this was, come on. There we go. It's about right there. Is there a top or a bottom? I don't think it matters. There's definitely a hard spot right here. Okay, I remember a bearing goes right there. So I have a new one here. This is a Hoover, made in USA. These came without any grease in them, so I had to pack them. These are not like tight in here, they just fall right in. But if you look at the way they're made, they're meant for like force this way. So as long as it's pushing against it, it's okay. So we'll put it in like, and now it's stuck. I believe this just sits right on top. So there's this long worm gear which I've cleaned. You can see it's pretty clean there. mostly. Okay, so this thing's pretty, lightly greased. I think we had one on there. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, which side it goes on. That one there. And then we need that side piece. Where is that? Let's just oil that up. Oil that up. What was this? Seems. Does that go in? There we go. Oh, nice. And there was a. There it is. Probably should have put some grease on this gear too, but this isn't really the best surface to be doing this on, is it? The drill through this is not straight because you can see right there. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but it's not lined up. It means the drill through this gear or the shaft is not a perfect 180. It's kind of offset. Yeah, it's going. Oh, I got it. Okay. Okay, then this thing goes on. The problem with grease is it attracts dirt. So if you over grease stuff, it's just gonna get all gross and grimy after a while. All right, so this has got to go. Oh boy, this is backwards. Didn't expect it to go on this good. Okay, got to turn. Let's see what we can do here. Nice. Oh yeah, okay. That was easier than I expected. Now if I was smart, I wouldn't have painted in here, but it's so loose I don't think it's going to matter much. Go from there all the way to there. That's way more travel than I'll ever need. And then it should turn easily. Oh, I need to put screws in here. Kind of just split the difference there, I guess. This thing is smooth. Okay, we'll do a little bit of grease on here for good luck. Gave these a little bit of a polish. All this smooth stuff, I just used the wire wheel on my angle grinder. Nothing really too crazy. Just kind of eyeball that for now. Someone had been welding on this thing, like on the side. It took a little bit to chisel that stuff off, but it's pretty clean now. Really the only problems with it are all the dings and drill marks, but we'll just call that character. Just do the best you can, I guess. We'll see how it turns out. These are really rounded off, so this is not going to look good. Just make it bigger. All right, just a couple things about bearings here, because I made a mistake when I was ordering stuff. I just want to show what I did wrong. So this here is one of the main bearings. There's two of the same part number, and these are sealed bearings. This doesn't turn so great anymore, but these are sealed. I started peeling the seal off here just to see how it was put together. So when I went to order new bearings, the mistake I made, here, I'll show you, here's one of them, is I just saw, oh, new departure, it's new old stock, unused bearing, and it looks unused. But the problem is these are sealed. You can't take the seal off. These are non-serviceable. So they come pre-packed with grease, which means, you know, judging by this box, this has been sitting on a shelf for at least 40 years. And if you turn it, it just, you're not gonna be able to hear it, but just by feel, I'll tell you right now, this bearing the grease is no good in it. So there's really nothing you can do. You can try peeling this cover off, which I tried to do here. And I think the way it's put together is there's another ring in here that's like snapped in that holds this bigger ring on, and it just, you can't take it off. So this wasn't even like wrapped in plastic, I don't think. I think it was just in this box. So that one's no good. This here is a, what is this? This is NTN, so this is a Japanese brand, same dimensions. This one is very nice, so the grease is still good in here. But these, I believe, are serviceable. This is a rubber seal on here. You can pry this off and repack it and then put it back on. I ended up ordering another one of these, so now I have 2 of these for my main bearings. I'm not going to use this one. This is basically just a desk ornament at this point. Now there were 2 small bearings on the intermediate shaft. This is one of them, which is also a new old stock. It came wrapped, I've already opened it, but it came wrapped in this wax paper. That's how you know it hasn't been opened. And fortunately, this is not a sealed bearing. I can see, you can actually see the balls in there. So this one I'll be able to repack. It's very stiff. And then this bearing, this is the one that had that Allen bolt that was holding it onto the shaft. And it turns out this is just an insert for the bearing. So I've already halfway pressed it out just so you can see that it's in there. So I'll push it all the way out. This one was also sealed. You know, kind of experimented with prying the old seal off, which you can do, but I think getting it back on, it's just never going to be the same. So on this one, I believe I also got an NTN bearing coming with a rubber seal, so I can repack that as well. I'm still feeling pretty guilty about breaking this pulley. I mean, even though it was really stuck on there, it was kind of just carelessness that eventually led to it dying. This is a really thin cast aluminum. So I just got the other pulley in though. Let's check it out, compare it, make sure the dimensions are correct. This box is significantly heavier than that pulley, but I think this one is, I believe this one is made out of cast steel instead of aluminum. Oh yeah. Wow, that's heavy. They've balanced it. I mean, this thing is really heavy. How much, I mean, this has got to weigh at least 10 pounds. Let's see. 14.3 pounds. I'm missing, let me find the other half of this pulley. 5 pounds, so it's about 3 times as heavy. Maybe that will be good for, you know, keep your momentum up when you're drilling. This thing's in really nice condition. I mean, it's so thick, I don't think it would bend. I did get measurements off of them. Yeah, that's the same diameter. And then, yeah, that height looks about the same. About the same bore diameter, it looks like. That would be important. And then, yeah, top pulley's the same size. So yeah, same one. I don't know why they would have switched between, I mean, I'm guessing cost maybe at some point. Yeah, those line up pretty good. Not perfect, but you know, not too bad. All right, so before I test fit the shaft, a couple things. One, I'm gonna clean up all this stuff that's all marred from whoever knows what. Also, there's a ridge right here. I'm not sure how plain that is, but right here it's really high. It's probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 thousandths high. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that ridge down as best, you know, as cleanly as I can. Also off camera, on this side this was where I was hammering it out through the top of the casting. And in here it was kind of mushroomed. So I've already went, and you can see there, I've already kind of dremeled that out, cleaned that up, because that shaft has to go through here and it wouldn't fit when it was all mushroomed like that. Let me clean this up on the bench grinder real quick, and I'll show you again in a second here. That ridge is gone. You can still see it steps up from here to here, which is fine. The pulley diameter is a little bit wider than the bearing diameter, but that really aggressive ridge is gone. By the way, now that I think about it, that lip is the reason that I could not pull the pulley off and it was all stuck. So if you look on this side, there is an intentional ridge right here, and that's to prevent the pulley from going up past this point. So there's no way the pulley's coming off that way. And then that ridge on the bottom was preventing it from coming off. That ridge was not intentional. You can see it's supposed to step up right there, but there's not supposed to be a ridge there. And I think what had happened, someone was either hammering it or pressing it from the top, or something fell on the machine or whatever, and it shoved this down. The inner race of the lower bearing mushroomed out that material, and that's what trapped the pulley on there. So in my opinion, there was absolutely no way that pulley was coming off without destroying it because of that. Yeah, so super loose here. And then that's tight. Let's see if I can just tap that home. Oh, yeah. Yeah, immediately goes in. Okay, so the only reason I was working on this project is because I was waiting for a bunch of excavator parts to come in, and they have now come in, so I'm kind of just trying to blast the rest of this. I kind of just did a seat of the pants measurement here, and I think I drilled these 4 holes. I think this is where they have to go. So I'm just so I drilled these for 3/8. The actual holes on this plate were smaller than that, so I had to drill them out a little bit. Warning, cancer. Nice. I think this is just going to slide in, or is it going to... Remember, I had to hammer this out. Oh, it's going. It's going. Can we get it all the way? There we go. This is just a test fit. Let's see where this goes. To me, that the pulley on the right can adjust up by about 1 inch. I got a lot of adjustment there. I mean, I can come all the way up like that. Well, we are ready to start installing stuff into the head here. So first up is this lower bearing. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be good enough. Just trying to keep it off of the seal at this point. All right, so this just sits on here, and then should be able to just tap this into place. Yeah. Not really hitting it that hard. Okay, we're through. Okay, I think at this point I'm going to have to use the press. Just get it started on here. Okay, so this is so far pressing on pretty well. Really not taking much force, which is kind of what I was hoping for. Now we're going to stop once this outer race hits the casing, make sure we're all lined up here. Oh no, I forgot that collar. Unbelievable, it's right here. So I'm gonna let me take this back out and fix it real quick. That was a lot of fun taking that back off. Usually with my luck I would have broken this whole thing taking it back apart, but it actually came apart okay. That noise. Probably call that good though. You don't realize how heavy something is until you try to lift it over your head. We're in that situation right now. Oh. Now we got a problem here because it's stuck. Okay. I think it's on far enough to not fall. Gotta be careful because if I hit this in too hard, it's gonna fall. It just makes it exciting. There we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, before we go any farther, this is the original hardware. It looks like these are stainless steel. I remember these being pretty tight. And then actually, let's see if we get this. Okay, easy. Easy. Okay. Perfect. Once again, not super tight on this stuff. I also just put grease in these holes because this is something we want to slide really nicely for a longer period of time. It's heavy and you're gonna have to change it every time you want to adjust the belt. So this is something we want to be nice. So let's see how far off we are. Just go on the top one. That's just gonna pull out. I might need to replace the, well, that might work. This is a hard one to, there we go. Oh yeah. Oh, these are over the top. Okay. There we go. So hopefully I left enough slack here because this has to slide in and out, but I think, oh yeah, we should be good with that. All right. Ooh, what is all this stuff? All right, so this is for split phase versus full phase. So for 115, we're going to tie blue, orange, and red together. I'm just going to check, make sure that the grounds are actually grounded and not connected to other stuff. Motor's grounded. Are we connected? Okay, so if memory serves me right, it should be spinning if you're looking down clockwise. So. That looks the right way. Okay, well I am definitely an idiot. I was not on the right pulley step back here. I'm sure most of you guys noticed that and were probably screaming at me at your TVs or whatever. Sorry about that. But this needs to actually be raised up to about there. So it actually needs to go up about 3/4 of an inch. Almost flush with the top, with the inside of the pulley, but not quite. Let's try that. I think that's a little loose. So it's loose, and this belt's been sitting at an angle since I had it on the wrong step this whole time, so it's all bent. So it needs some time to sit. It should improve. I think I'm just gonna get a different belt though. I'm gonna get one, so we're about an inch out here, so I'm gonna get maybe a 57 inch. That should bring these in a half. on each side, right? So I think I'll just get another belt. If you ignore that racket though and just check out how straight this is, I'll put it right there on the screen and start it. This fuzzy stuff is paper towel. I need to scrape that off. That's where the paint stuck. All right, there were originally flathead screws in here, but I replaced them with Allen just to make it, well, either harder or easier to get off, depending on how you... Okay. Last night before I left the shop, I put that little spacer in there and then secured this thing with some Loctite 680 retaining compound. So let's see here. Yeah, it's on there tight. It's not slipping up and down. So let's see if it sounds a little bit better. I sure hope so. I think a lot of that rattling was just the pulley. Yes, much better. Yeah, no rattling at all. That's much better. Oh, that's way nicer. That's pretty quiet. Okay. How tight is that? I'm gonna finish this off in the press real quick. I don't like hitting on this stuff, and actually, to be honest, this looks like a pretty old box. Is there a date on here? Oh yeah, look at, I think that might be November 1998. This thing has definitely been on the shelf for a while, so maybe we should pack this. I think the bearing for the other side, yeah, this was the one that needs to be repacked too. So let's repack both of these. That's probably a good idea while we're here. Let's see if we can get this off here without hurting it too much. There we go. Oh, geez. Didn't even put grease in it. It felt really weak, like it just kind of was grindy. There's more grease on that side, but that grease is definitely really old. No longer good grease. You just have to maybe push. That's right, you just push. Oh. Yeah, you can see the old grease. I think we might need to... You don't want to overfill it because it'll just pop the seals back out. So, yeah. All right. Oh man, it's not going through very easy. There we go. Okay, so remember, none of this stuff was really tight to begin with, so it should just all kind of tap into place, hopefully. Just make sure it's going to be on straight. Yeah, it's going in really easy. And then this one, okay, so this can turn, so that doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in the press real quick just so I don't have to bang on it. But yeah, it's going together pretty good. Okay, so this pressed together, no problem, no drama or anything. They both went in all the way. So this goes on here. And then the inner race of the bearing rides on the ridge right here, it looks like. All right, well that pressed on with no real issues. It's on there all the way. Just need to tighten that Allen key. So on this cover, there's this little brass nozzle on top. It's got like a spring-loaded ball bearing in it. And if you look at the owner's manual, which once again I have in the video description if you want to look at it, but you're supposed to drop oil down here, you know, every day or whatever day you use it. So that oil is supposed to drop on these splines and keep the whole assembly, you know, lubed up. So I'm just gonna put like a light amount of grease on here just to get it, you know, so it's nice and lubed up to begin with. And then I'll add oil as I'm using it, and hopefully this whole thing is oiled properly at that point. So these are for the handle, which, you know, drive it up and down. We definitely want grease in here. Put a little grease on here too. Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to, okay. So I'm hammering that wedge. I think I can get this thing out. Because really I need to be able to get a wedge into right here to open it up more. This is actually wood. I did not expect that, but it's wood. You can tell. Definitely wood. Anyway, oops. Get it in there. All right, I took the depth gauge off just because it was getting in my way. Watch me crack it at the last step here. Oh, there we go. That's actually pretty good. Okay, good. We got it. There we go. All right, well, I drove this in, which is obviously, you know what this is, but it's really hard to move. Something's up. I've done something wrong. What happens if I pull these out? I'm not quite sure what I've done wrong yet. But something's dragging. It is loosening up. So since this moves in relation to that, this just acts as a guide. And I think this wood shim just makes it so you can't over tighten it too much. That's probably what's going on. Now that I'm looking at it though, I think what I'm gonna do is take this all back out and clean the surfaces in here where this is riding on. It probably needs a little bit of oil too. Okay, I got it kind of cleaned up and back together here. This piece of wood is actually, it sets the, I don't know what you would call it, the preload maybe, how much this clamps onto the key right here. And that sets how hard this thing is to raise and lower. So once I got this set in, I hammered the wood back in, and it's actually quite smooth now up and down. I have the handles out right now, obviously, but I'm happy with how it is. So this grub screw here, I think it just holds the wood into place so it doesn't slide up and down. And then these two right here, which we're going to install, I guess this just holds everything snug. It's a very weird set. I've never seen like a wood shim, you know, be used before to set metal, but you know, this is pretty old. That's not bad there. I guess let's set up the spring. All right, so to set the spring tension here, I completely forget how to do this. To about there. And then, so if we pull out that spring, just need to get the flathead screw into there. Yep, like that. And then, can I hear it snap? Okay, well that seems to be working. So let's tighten this up. That's completely non-helpful. All right, I think I have it about figured out here. Basically, you got to use the channel locks, and I'm just kind of dialing it in right now. Just gotta rotate that. And then we'll try that right there. It's not where it was originally, but that doesn't feel good. Maybe that's too much. I think that was too tight and it was binding up. There we go. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's good. Well, off camera, I put a new belt on. It's a little bit shorter. You can see the gap here is about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more. It's nice and tight though. You can see it start. I also put all 3 of these on and I adjusted this. I think I might have overspringed this. It's going up really fast. I don't really know what the correct, do you want it to go that fast? I don't know. You know, I'm kind of, I haven't owned an ice drill press before, so these are all things that I might need to loosen it up a little. You can see in here, there's 2 strips here that are machined, but you can't get both of them on unless you lower this a little bit. Basically, that collar needs to ride up right against this key. I think that's how it was designed originally. Even though it's going to kill about, I don't know, a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch of travel, I think that's the right way to do it. So I drove a wedge in here just to open this up enough. Get it on here. There we go. Let's get that centered and then I'll pull the wedge out. There we go, it's on there. All right. Yeah, I think that's way too much spring tension. Anyways, it's in there. Now the stop is actually this hitting the top of this instead of whatever was happening before. Probably the gearing was stopping it. Can't really film this next part because this thing's way too tall. But basically, on top of here, I need to install this thing. So I'm gonna kind of spray the inside of this with oil. I obviously did not paint it. Off camera, I dropped a lot of oil down here and everything's greased. And so we're good to go for a while. And that oil is not oiling the bearings. All it's doing is keeping this action nice and smooth, which I really do need to adjust that spring tension. I'm standing on a 12-volt battery right now. One of the excavator batteries, actually. Okay, ready for this thing. So it came with this drill chuck, which is, what kind is this? Heavy duty ball bearing Jacobs Super Chuck. Hartford, Connecticut. Okay, well, I mean, it's a big chuck, but I did clean it up as best as I could. So let's get it in here. Do you just push it or do you have to tap it? Is it in there? And I apologize, this is all new to me. I'm kind of just figuring this out here. So let me tap it back out. I'm just curious to see if you have to hit it in or if you can just throw it in. So, oh yeah, it just goes in by pushing it. That's cool. All right. Let me throw this big drill bit in here. And that doesn't go in all the way. That's probably fine. This is the new key I bought. Well, I'd like this to be completely perpendicular to this drill bit, but I think the tool I have for that is over at the house. So just in the meantime, let's make sure this is lined up. And then I'll do just kind of a seat of the pants measurement on this versus this and get it close. All right, well, let's check our run out and make sure we didn't make this thing worse, which we probably did. That's pretty good, I guess. Plus or minus 1 thou. So important pieces of information to have is the RPMs that all this is spinning, depending on which, pulley ratio you use. So this motor is 1725 RPM, and I measured all these pulleys. This is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inch, and then over on the other side it's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 inch. This is a really simple calculation. I only made a few mistakes here, but the fastest, which is on the top, is 2070 RPM, and we got 1437, 985, 646, and 383 on the bottom. So that, that's important for what kind of metal you're drilling, but we want to test it out here. So let's find something and then figure out what to use. Okay, so we got a 5/8 drill bit. I looked it up for steel. It's around 800 RPM. So we'll set it to the middle setting, which was 985. Come on, there we go. Okay, that's quite tight. I was just testing this out before I started drilling. And I'm really kind of nitpicking here, but if I can relate this. So up here, like I just measured the run out. The run out's like nothing on here. But on this chuck, there's a little bit of run out. I can just see it with my eye. And then on the drill bit, which the drill bit may be bent, I can't tell. It doesn't look bad on camera, but it just seems like there's a bit of run out on this drill bit. I can't tell if it's from the chuck or if it's from the drill bit itself. It looks like the chuck itself has some run out, but the actual drill body, it looks really good. Let me get in here closer. I don't know. I mean, it looks really good on camera. It's kind of hard to express this. I don't know what to tell you. But something's up. At the very minimum, this drill bit's bad. So I'll have to look at this a little bit more. It might just be that this chuck is bad. It is really old, obviously. By the way, this thing is super smooth. Like, I don't even really feel vibration. Just my hands on here, I feel nothing. And we're like literally on furniture dollies right now. So before I start drilling, let's get this put in its final resting place. I'll probably end up moving it, but for now this is actually the best spot for it. It's right over by my huge mess of a tool bench with the old drill press right there. In case you haven't been able to tell, my shop is a huge mess. I actually have plans to move my shop to somewhere else, to another building, so that's kind of why I'm not thinking too much about this. And I've been waiting for this day for a long time to have a decent drill press here. A little bit of oil there. This thing is pretty smooth. Oh. Well, that was about 1/4 inch steel. It went right through that, no problem. This is a new one for me. You could actually like press down on here and like push, and it was going through and not just seizing up like the other drill press does. So this is going to be such a nice addition to my shop. I'm really happy with it so far. I mean, you're going to see it a lot more on the channel as I'm going to use this for everything pretty much. Well, I guess the video is going to end there. There's a kind of a fun little project, kept me busy. There's been a lot of machining going on with the excavator cylinders. That's kind of why I had some free time to do this. Did a lot of back and forth with the machine shop on that kind of stuff. I'm glad to get this project done. Like I said, I've been wanting one of these for a long time, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. One final thing I didn't really take into account until now is this belt is too small. You can see there's no adjustment left in the motor mount, and we're only on the 3rd pulley down. As it gets lower, that front pulley gets a lot bigger. Fortunately, I do have the next size up still. I bought like 2 or 3 belts at the auto store. And so I'll just maybe take this one back, or I'll just hold on to it. I don't know. So I'll swap that belt out. And really the only other thing I might want to change eventually is replacing this with like an actual one. There, I did see a few on eBay, like this depth gauge. I think it might look cool just to have the original one because it does kind of stand out when you look at it. It doesn't look right. And the last thing to briefly mention, because this comment gets made all the time, telling me that I need to get a lathe. Well, I actually own a lathe. I bought this a year. You've probably seen it in the background of some of my videos. It's hard to believe that I've been tripping over this thing for a year, but here it is. I unfortunately had to take it apart when I first got it here because it was too heavy to unload, but I do have some video of it all together so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. I believe the bed is 8 feet on it. It's a pretty large size lathe. I think it's about 2,500 pounds when it's all assembled. And there's a lot to it though. I mean, there's all this stuff. There's that under there. And then it was retrofit with a okay, well, let me tell you kind of what happened here. So this was kind of an impulse buy at an auction. It was going for $200 or something like that. No one was bidding on it. And I was like, oh, a lathe, I could use one, I'll take it. It's been about 20 years since I've used a lathe and I'm not super familiar with them. So after I bought it, I did a little research, and this is a Lucius W. Pond out of Worcester, Massachusetts. And it turns out this lathe was made around 1870. So about 150 years old, which is crazy when you think about it. I mean, that's like Civil War era. When did the Titanic launch? That was like 1910. So it's like 40 years by the time the Titanic's being made. Yeah, so it's really, really, really old. It all seemed to operate, like all the handles and stuff were turning. At some point, I think in the 40s, based on this motor, it was retrofit with, you know, like an electric drive, and there's a pulley somewhere and a belt and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with my lathe. So I'm not really big into vintage machinery. I don't know if this is even worthwhile to spend the time with. Like maybe I should just pass this on to someone else and, you know, spend the 500 or 1,000 or whatever to get a decent lathe. I mean, there's obviously some limitations on something this old. Obviously, I have a lot of other projects on my plate right now, so this isn't something I'm gonna get to anytime soon, I don't think. At the very least, I need to get the excavator done first before I even think about touching this thing. That's why it's been sitting here for a year. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, or you think I should just dump this thing and get something else. Or I'm not a big time machinist. This is not a machinist or machining channel. There's plenty of other good channels of that kind of stuff. I'm usually in too much of a hurry and kind of impatient to do stuff like that, but it would be really cool to have a working lathe that I can, you know, occasionally use. Anyway, if you made it this far, hopefully you enjoyed the video. This was a lot of fun to do. It was just something a little bit different for a change, and I ended up with a nice tool out of it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon for another video.